What's going on with Jake Paul, Conor McGregor? Is that fight happening or what?
Probably not.
Dana White has officially had enough of celebrity boxing.
There's a market for these kind of fights.
He's fed up with it, won't entertain it, and honestly, he's probably losing sleep over it. Now, the idea of Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Conor McGregor, that's a level of absurdity Dana refuses to let slide.
He came out yesterday and said, well, now that you love me. Well, I never said I love you.
Let's be honest, Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed YouTuber turned fighter, isn't even on the same planet as Conor McGregor. How he convinces himself he's a real contender against a UFC legend is beyond me. But hey, delusion comes at no cost.
Well, he shouldn't even be fighting Conor McGregor. These guys are fucking huge. He's huge. His brother's huge. I mean, what's your brother, 6'1"?
Yeah.
210?
Yeah.
Conor McGregor's 145, 155 pounds.
Oh, he fights that low. I thought he fights like once.
Dana isn't just rejecting this fight, he's predicting the disaster it would be. Jake prancing around like he's reinventing boxing is nothing more than a mockery of the sport. For Dana, this isn't just a mismatch, it's a betrayal of every boxing fan who wants to see real talent, not a TikTok sideshow. And honestly, he's got a point.
I'm looking for the absolute best in the world. These guys who have trained their whole life, they fight in these smaller shows and then they make it to the UFC, and we've put the best against the best. It's just not what we do. There's a market for what these guys do, and there's money to be made in it. You know?
Conor McGregor has finally been handed the pink slip. It looks like Dana White has had enough of everyone's favorite Irish loudmouth avoiding Jake Paul. Yeah, you heard that right, Dana freaking White apparently drew the line at Jake Paul. Why? Because Conor, the UFC's golden boy, didn't want to tarnish his precious legacy by stepping into the circus that Jake Paul has turned combat sports into.
Conor McGregor is one of the best on the fucking planet. He's one of the greatest fighters on earth right now.
And he's got
He shouldn't be fighting kids that have fucking YouTube videos, okay?
Conor McGregor is one of the best fighters on the planet, one of the greatest in the world right now. He shouldn't be stepping into the ring with kids who've made a name for themselves on YouTube.
When there's the Floyd-Conor fight, you know, the fans wanted to see it. Everybody wanted to see it. That fight took on a life of its own. Floyd and I got together and figured it out, and it made sense, and we did it. So
let's start with Jake Paul, the internet troll turned millionaire boxer, who somehow convinced people he's a legit fighter. This guy's been racking up 1.2 million pay-per-view buys like it's no big deal, pulling in $40 million a year. Love him or hate him, Jake knows how to sell a fight, even if it's all smoke and mirrors. But the idea of him stepping into the ring with Conor McGregor, that's where Dana White draws the line.
Listen, he's a young kid out there trying to make some money.
He's made it clear there's no way he's letting Jake Paul tarnish the UFC's legacy. The irony, of course, is palpable because, let's be honest, the UFC has seen its fair share of questionable fights. Enter Conor McGregor, the man, the myth, and a walking whiskey advertisement. But let's not kid ourselves, money has been his main motivator for a while now. Conor has a fight lined up with Dustin Poirier on Fight Island, and sure, he looks phenomenal on Instagram, ripped, jacked, and seemingly ready to reclaim his throne. But steering clear of Jake Paul, that's about more than weight classes or safeguarding a legacy. It's Conor knowing full well how absurd it would look to even entertain the idea.
Do you think he could cut to, you think he could make 70?
One set. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Exactly.
I don't think so.
It's such a spread.
And it's a stretch for Conor to fight at 70. You know what I mean? He fought Nate at 70. That isn't his fucking weight class, not even close. Yeah.
Dana White can't stand celebrity fights, he really hates them. He slammed them as disrespectful to the sport, dismissing them as an insult to the blood, sweat, and years of training that real fighters endure. Yet somehow, he's mad at Conor for not diving headfirst into that very circus. Make it make sense, Dana. Meanwhile, as you lecture about preserving the UFC's integrity, Jake Paul is laughing all the way to the bank, cashing checks bigger than most UFC fighters will see in their entire careers.
On the percentage scale from 0 to 100, what are the chances that Jake Paul ever fights Conor McGregor?
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Never happened.
And don't even get me started on the weight class excuse. Conor's prime fighting weight is 155 pounds, calling that a fight is generous. It's a slaughter waiting to happen.
Well, he shouldn't even be fighting Conor McGregor. These guys are fucking huge. He's huge. His brother's huge. I mean, what's your brother, 6'1"?
Yeah.
210?
Yeah.
Conor McGregor's 145, 155 pounds.
Oh, he fights that low. I thought he fights like that.
But hey, when has logic ever stopped Dana from chasing a quick buck? The man sees dollar signs, and suddenly physics goes out the window. If he could, he'd probably have Francis Ngannou fight a kangaroo if it meant smashing a pay-per-view record. At the core of it, though, this is really about Dana's frustration with the entire celebrity boxing trend.
There's a market for these kind of fights.
It's not just Jake Paul, though Jake is definitely the poster child for everything Dana despises. The real issue is that these fights are siphoning attention and money away from the UFC. While Dana's busy preaching about preserving the sport, Jake and his brother Logan are transforming combat sports into a WWE spectacle. Can't enough of it.
It's just, there's weight classes for a reason.
Yeah.
And
What if Jake can cut to 145?
He just cuts half of his body off. Like, how do you do that?
Jake brought the type of guy to cut off a limb to make a weight class.
The UFC isn't just another fight promotion, it's a dynasty. Dana White's kingdom is built on grit, dedication, and the blood of fighters who've clawed their way to the top. Viral TikToks and YouTube stunts don't cut it here, and that's exactly why Dana is so determined to keep the UFC's reputation far from the neon glow of Jake Paul's Instagram antics. Let's break it down. Celebrity fights aren't a new phenomenon, but recently, they've gone completely off the rails. Take Floyd Mayweather vs. Logan Paul, for example. Logan lost to KSI, for crying out loud, but somehow found himself in the ring with Floyd, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Sure, it pulled in millions of views, but to Dana, it was the combat sports equivalent of fast food, flashy, unhealthy, and leaving you questioning your choices afterward. And then there's CM Punk, the WWE star who thought he could moonwalk into the UFC octagon. He got obliterated, and his humiliating stint was a perfect illustration of why Dana draws the line at celebrity fights. Now, compare that disaster to Brock Lesnar, a former WBE star who didn't just join the UFC, but became a heavyweight champion. The difference? Years of real training, not clout chasing.
Floyd fought everybody that he was supposed to. Floyd's in this position right now where he can do things like this because he fought everybody. You know, this kid came up through the Olympics, went pro, fought everybody that he was supposed to fight, fought everybody, you know, that he needed to fight to get to where he is now. So when I see these guys, you know.
Here's the thing, Dana's frustration isn't just personal, it's business. The UFC rakes in $1 billion a year, and that's far from pocket change. Dana knows what keeps those numbers growing: credibility. If he allows the octagon to become a playground for influencers, the UFC risks losing its soul. And let's not forget the fans, they're not tuning in for YouTuber slap fests. They're here to see elite athletes go to war. But Dana's disdain for celebrity fights doesn't mean he lacks respect for legends like Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather. Tyson, even in his 50s, remains a deity in the world of combat sports.
Mike goes out and wants to fight in his 50s. Everybody, I bought it. Everybody's going to buy it. Everybody wants to see Tyson do well. Everybody loves and wants to support Tyson.
Mike Tyson's exhibition fight with Jake Paul reportedly pulled in $20 million in pay-per-view revenue. That's no small sum. Dana respects Tyson as a living legend, someone who's earned the right to cash in without tarnishing his legacy. Floyd Mayweather? Same story. He fought every opponent who mattered during his career, cementing his place in history. Now, he's simply playing the game better than anyone else. Dana recognizes their hustle but draws a firm line. That's not what I do.
But I get it. There's a lot of money in it. There's a market for those kind of fights. It's not what I do.
What Dana White does is stick to the UFC's core values, even as the world of sports becomes more chaotic. Take the upcoming Fight Island series, for instance, 3 fights in 1 week, possibly with live fans. It's an enormous undertaking and Dana's way of showcasing the UFC's dominance in a world increasingly saturated with social media stars chasing quick paydays. If Fight Island succeeds, it'll be another feather in the UFC's cap, solidifying its place as the gold standard. But Conor McGregor's legacy hangs in the balance, and Dana knows it. Sure, Conor could fight Jake Paul and rake in an obscene amount of money, but at what cost? His reputation, his dignity. Dana won't let that happen under the UFC banner, even if it means clashing with his biggest star. For now, Conor seems focused on his upcoming fight with Dustin Poirier, training hard to reclaim his throne. He's steering clear of the Jake Paul circus for now. But let's not pretend the possibility is completely off the table. Money talks, and a fight like that would shout dollar signs. Ultimately, Dana's so-called guardianship of Conor McGregor is just another chapter in his crusade against celebrity boxing. It's his way of drawing a line in the sand, a statement that the UFC won't stoop to gimmicks. Yes, the fight world is evolving, blurring the lines between sport and entertainment, but Dana is standing his ground. To him, the UFC is where real fighters come to prove their worth, not where influencers come to pad their wallets.
There's a market for these kind of fights.
While Jake Paul turns boxing into a reality show, Dana White is determined to ensure the UFC remains the last bastion of integrity in combat sports. Whether it's clashing with Conor, roasting Jake, or building a fight series on a remote island,
in the middle of nowhere,
Dana's message is crystal clear. Keep your circus out of my octagon. The idea of Dana White firing Conor McGregor might sound shocking, but let's be honest, it's just another chapter in the ever-growing drama that combat sports has become. At this point, it's less about the fights and more about who can scream the loudest.
Because at this point, it's less about the fights and more about who can scream the loudest.